Hello, Ruach. We're on day 6 of our fast. We're getting close to the end with only a few days left. Keep up with lots of water. Stay steadfast in the fast. If necessary, you can supplement with apple juice or cranberry juice or some green tea to just help you get that little bit of energy if it's necessary. If you're like me, you may have been planning some amazing meals during this time or had some ideas in amongst that being hungry. So I encourage you, as you get off of the fast, just be mindful and be careful to gradually transition. Pick some meals that are really light, not too heavy. For example, a brothy soup is much easier to come off of the fast. As we complete the fast this week, and you're praying, and in that time of prayer, keep a notebook with you. The Lord is going to speak to you, and he's going to reveal things to you. As you read the word, he'll show you things, and it's so important to write these things down. It says in Habakkuk 2:2 to write down the vision. Isaiah 8:1 also encourages us to write it down. And in recording the word, this is also why it's so important to record the prophetic words that you might receive. The word of the Lord is significant. So whatever he is sharing, make sure that it is recorded, that is written down. This will be a testimony for the future, that you can see that he is faithful to complete what he has said. So today the word of the day is from Mark chapter 9, and it's about, the context of the story here is a man had brought his child to the disciples because his child was being afflicted with an evil spirit. And the disciples were not able to cast it out. So they bring the man and his child to Jesus. So let me read this passage from Mark chapter 9, verse 23 to 29. Jesus said to him, "If you believe, all things are possible to him who believes." Immediately, the father of the child cried out and said with tears, "Lord, I believe. Help my unbelief." When Jesus saw that the people came running together, he rebuked the unclean spirit, saying to it, "Deaf and dumb spirit, I command you, come out of him and enter him no more." That the spirit cried out, convulsed him greatly, and came out of him. And he became as one dead, so that many said, "He is dead." But Jesus took him by the hand and lifted him up, and he arose. And when he had come into the house, his disciples asked him privately, "Why could we not cast it out?" So he said to them, "This kind can only come out by nothing but prayer and fasting." Something to note here, and you might see this in your translations, that not all translations include fasting in that last statement in that passage, as there's debate whether it was in the original text. However, the point conveyed through the Greek language used for the word prayer reinforce the idea of fasting in this context. So the Greek word used for prayer here is proseuche, which is different from a word for prayer used for regular prayers, which is desis. Proseuche speaks of a deeper, more intense, more deliberate prayer, whereas desis speaks of more of a daily prayer. So proseuche being that intercessory prayer, being that deeper prayer, bringing that request to God. So as we're fasting, the time of prayer is entering into that deep place, and it is coming and bringing those requests in an act of intercession. It is that deep and that significant pressing in. So with our fasting, and with our prayer, there is a time of pressing in, of being very deliberate, being strategic even in our prayers. This is not just a daily prayer, which is very valuable, but it's something that we're bringing a deep request to God. So this ties in really well with our prayer and fasting. One of the impetus, the purpose of our prayer and fasting is to ask God for more of his work in setting people free, more of his work in healing, more of his work in binding up the brokenhearted. So as we fast, let's fast in this way of pressing in and seeking God for these things that we're praying for. God has been doing this amongst us, but we're praying for such a greater measure, that God would bless us with a greater measure of this, that we'll see more people really set free and really equipped to step into the calling that he has for them. Another aspect of this is praying for that place for us to call home, where we can more fully engage and deliver on the ministry vision that God has given us. So for these last few days, take this scripture to heart, that there is significant spiritual breakthrough in pressing in the intercessory prayers as we fast. Another quick reminder, we have our prayer and ministry night coming up this Friday at 7 p.m. at Kingsland Community Hall. As we've been praying and interceding, I'm believing for breakthrough in people's lives as we meet. I hope to see you there. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.